Everyone thinks the Forerunner 965 is just a 955 with a prettier screen, but here's the thing, that bright AMOLED isn't the headline. The real story is how this watch actually changes how you train, because its coaching, mapping, and GPS accuracy can talk you out of junk miles and into smarter performance. I went in expecting a flashy upgrade. What I found after weeks of testing, it might be the most honest training partner I've used, and yes, it will also expose your bad habits. Before we dive into what I discovered, quick heads up. If you're already convinced and want the best current price on the 965, I've got a link below. But stick around, because some of my results, especially around battery and accuracy, might surprise you. Here's the setup. I needed one watch that could handle everything: marathon build, track intervals, a hilly 50K recon, and a few cold open water swims. I've tried lighter watches that crumbled under tree cover. I've tried smartwatches that nailed notifications but died mid-long run. I even tried the older Forerunner series but never loved the transflective display for night workouts. So I strapped on the 965 with a healthy dose of skepticism. AMOLED usually means battery pain. High-end GPS usually means weight and bulk. And at around $560 with a 4.7-star average on Amazon, it has to earn every penny. Test 1. GPS accuracy and navigation. I ran a 400-meter track session with 10x400s, lane 1, clean lines. The 965 logged laps at 402 meters consistently, no drunken corners, no weird cut-ins. But then I took it downtown between glass buildings. This is where watches go to die. Multiband GNSS with SatIQ kicked in and the route trace stayed tight. The moment I turned on full-color, built-in maps with turn-by-turn prompts, I expected battery drain or lag. Instead, it just worked. The prompts hit right on time, and map panning via Touch Plus buttons felt reliable, if not blazing fast. Here's where it gets interesting. Under dense tree cover on a muddy trail loop, the 965 held its line better than my phone and better than the last-gen models I've used. Not perfect, but impressively stable. Test 2. Battery. Garmin claims up to 23 days in smartwatch mode and up to 31 hours in GPS. Claims are cute, real life is what matters. With always-on display off, notifications on, HRV tracking enabled, and 3 GPS workouts per week, I comfortably got 11-13 days per charge. With always-on display on, that dropped to about 7 days. On multiband GPS long runs, I saw roughly 3-5% drain per hour without music and closer to 7-9% with offline music playing. In a 3-hour mixed terrain run with maps visible most of the time, I used 12%. Translation: you can race a marathon with multiband GPS and music without anxiety and still have battery to spare. Test 3. Training readiness and the race widget. The watch woke me with a morning report featuring sleep breakdown, HRV status, recovery, and a training readiness score. I love pushing hard, so I ignored it once. Bad move. The workout felt heavy and sloppy. The next day, readiness was higher. The daily suggested workout dialed back intensity intelligently after my poor session, and the run flowed. It was like having a coach who actually reads your data. When I plugged in a half-marathon course, the race widget offered course-aware workouts and realistic completion time predictions, not fantasy numbers, numbers that lined up with my tempo sessions and lactate threshold tests. Test 4. Heart rate, running power, and multisport. Wrist HR was solid on steady runs and long climbs, but during 400s it lagged on the first 20-30 seconds of each rep, as most wrist sensors do. Pairing a chest strap fixed it. Wrist-based running power stayed within about 10% of my strid on rolling terrain, and running dynamics like cadence and ground contact time looked plausible and consistent. Triathletes. Switching sports with a single button press worked flawlessly. Open water GPS tracks were clean and swim metrics were accurate enough to trust. Pros: straight up, the AMOLED is brilliant without being obnoxious. Peak brightness is high and it's readable in noon sun. Multiband GNSS with SatIQ gives you accuracy when you need it and preserves battery when you don't. Full-color maps are a game-changer for new routes, and features like Climb Pro, Pace Pro, and Up Ahead make pacing feel surgical rather than guessy. Training readiness, training status, HRV, and the morning report aren't gimmicks. They're useful, especially if you actually listen to them. The titanium bezel keeps weight down and the watch stays comfortable on long days. Music storage, Garmin Pay, safety features like live track and incident detection, those round out the package nicely. Cons you should know about: AMOLED and always on will cost you battery. Keep that expectation in check. Map panning is reliable but not as buttery as a phone. Wrist HR still lags on hard intervals unless you wear a chest strap. There's no LTE and no ECG. If you want full smartwatch behavior, call handling, and app depth, a general-purpose smartwatch wins. And let's be real, $560 is premium. You're paying for a tool, not a toy. Here's the discovery that surprised me most. The 965's combination of training readiness, course-aware coaching, and truly accurate mapping changed how I plan runs. I stopped guessing. I started stacking sessions that built on each other because the watch called out recovery debt before it became fatigue. I spent hours testing in rain, sun, trails, and tracks, and the signal was clear. This isn't just a screen upgrade. It's a training system. Compared to an Apple Watch Ultra, you'll get far better endurance in multiband GPS and deeper training metrics, but fewer smartwatch tricks. Compared to something like a COROS Apex 2 Pro, you'll give up a bit of expedition battery but gain richer maps, better coaching, and arguably a more mature ecosystem. Versus Garmin's own Fenix line, the 965 gives you most of the performance features in a lighter, cheaper package, unless you need the Fenix build, sapphire lens, or solar. Now that you know the real win here is smarter training plus dependable navigation, grab it before race season ramps up and prices get weird. The best current deal I could find is linked below. If you're on the fence, at least check it while you're thinking through your A and B race plans. Bottom line, if you're a runner or triathlete who values accurate GPS, full-color maps, and coaching that adapts to your real recovery, the Forerunner 965 is easy to recommend. If you want a budget trainer, look at the Forerunner 265. If you want week-long expeditions without charging, look at COROS Verdix. If you need phone-first features, consider a smartwatch. For everyone else chasing PRs without guesswork, the 965 earns its 4.7-star rep. It's not the fancy screen that makes it special, it's the science under it.